But before all that, I want to just ask you all to raise your hand if you experience any anxiety or anything that resembles fear when you come up here to speak. You guys, we got a lot of really good people in our group because I wasn't expecting that many hands. So you all hide it really well. But I want to share a little bit about my experience when I come up here. It's just a little illustration. It's almost like if you could imagine do you know what a javelin is? Mm-hmm. It's like a spear. It's almost like I can see that one of those flying in the air up there somewhere, and it's like hurtling in my direction. Suspended up there somewhere. So I'm up here and I'm trying to give a speech, and the whole time it's like there's this thing up here, and it doesn't go away until about 30 seconds after I sit down. So that just gives you some kind of idea of what's going on inside my head, inside my chest, while I'm up here speaking. And raise your hand again if you can relate to that. Okay, so I'm not totally off the wall with that description.
Not at all.
So I guess the inspirational part is just to understand all the hands that went up in the room when I described that and I asked those questions. Even though, like I said, everyone does a pretty good job of keeping that under control when you're up here, it's important to understand that we're all going through the same thing and that we're all here trying to improve and become better at speaking and being in front of people. And by doing that, just by even showing up, I think that that's really a huge success. So just try to keep that in mind when you're up here.
Do that right. There are several skills needed to deliver an effective speech. Although we all have different personalities and speaking styles, the basic skills remain the same. As students of speech, we should continuously be working on those skills and asking our peers for feedback on our progress. Larry?
Well, fellow Toastmasters, guests, tonight I wanted to talk to you about how to reset combination on one of these little locks. I have one similar. Mine's bronze. It has 3 numbers. But anyway, this, and they have 4 number ones too. This one, it's about $5 at Walmart. And it has the directions right on the back here too on how to set it. It comes all zeros when you get it from the Walmart or wherever you get it. And all you do is you turn it to the zeros, pull it up, turn it around, drop it down because it has a picture right here, and then you just set whatever numbers you want once you have it back down. I wouldn't do 1, 2, 3 or anything dumb like that, or all zeros, because everybody knows they're all zeros. That would be bad. So once you do that, then you can use it. I use mine at the gym. I guess you have to be careful because this one, I think mine's a little bigger than this. You can use this on small stuff, obviously. So it would. What I want to do. I probably should have taken this out of the packet. I'm gonna go ahead and see. I'm gonna get this out and see if I can't get it to show you on the actual lock. You know what? I think I brought mine with me. I did. So I have mine. I think I have it set at 3s. I don't. That's the other thing. You got to remember what you set it for, because it would be really. I don't have it set for 3s. Oh, it's the other side. Give me a minute. Okay, you got to have them lined up just right. And it open. Okay, so that worked. Toastmasters. That was a pretty lousy presentation, wasn't it? That's not exactly how you would do it if you really wanted to communicate effectively to people. Now you might think about using a larger block. So I brought this one. Here's the only problem. Unless you're a realtor, this would be totally useless to you, because why would you want to reset the combination on a lockbox you probably would never use?
A door, I think.
You could put it on the, yes, leave it for the kids. But that wouldn't be very effective either, because it'd be difficult to see. Or you could use an overhead. You could use a PowerPoint, assuming that it worked, because tonight it didn't work. But I had a video embedded. It was a 1-minute video. So that would be helpful, because that shows you in 1 minute how to do what I couldn't show you here, because you'd never be able to see it. I guarantee Louise couldn't see the numbers back there. However, how effective would that be if you didn't have hands-on? Here's the thing. Tonight's message was not about how to reset locks. As my introduction said, it was about the skills that we use in Toastmasters. Then 3 I want to focus on tonight. Number 1, body language. Now, those of you who are a little bit experienced speakers probably know my body language was absolutely terrible. I turned away from you. I turned my back on you. And then, of course, in a totally classy move, I threw the thing away that didn't work. I wouldn't try that in real life. The second is vocal variety. Being able to speak clearly to people so that your audience understands. I'm going to guess that you had a difficult time understanding me when I was whispering to my card. Not very good vocal variety. Come on in. And the last one is visuals. This was a terrible visual. Maybe Srinivas could see, maybe King could see, but that was about it. So on using visuals, I want to think about what I'm trying to convey to the crowd. Because there would be 2 types of visuals. One could be instructional. If I needed to convey to a group how to do something that they needed to do, I would walk them through. I could use a video. I could do a handout with an instruction sheet. The other type would be educational. We've had a couple of those speeches. One that came to mind that I really liked, and the speaker is here. Some time ago, Louise did a speech on quilting. Now, I got to tell you, I'm never going to quilt. Now, my wife quilts. But I found it very interesting because Louise explained what she did. She explained the different styles. She handed different pieces that we could pass around. Excellent visual, and allowed people to touch. So think about that when you are preparing a speech, how you want to convey. Now, those are only 3, but let's recap. Number 1, body language. The body language should be open to people. There should be eye contact. If you're in a room like this, you should be moving back and forth so that everybody feels like you're talking to them. Now, one word of caution. I will tell you something that I've seen from experienced speakers, and that is, be careful that your body language is friendly and connected, but not a performance. Because if it becomes a performance, it just feels like that. I might as well be watching a movie. I want the speaker to speak directly to me. The vocal variety, as I said. Number 2, very important. Number 1, I want to speak in understandable terms. I want to make sure that I'm speaking to the group that I know a little bit about. For instance, if I'm speaking to a group that's not in my industry, I'm not going to use real estate terms. I'm not going to use acronyms. I want to speak to you in a way that you'll understand. And finally, the visuals. As I said before, third powerful point, make sure that the visuals can relate to the people there. So that if it's educational, it's educational. You're teaching them something. If it's instructional, it's something they can take away. A handout might be good there. So that, just 3 of the skills that we work on in Toastmasters, but something to think about, and I hope I've given you the bad and the good.
Now, continuing with our agenda, our next speaker is Lisa Rippian. She's working on the Understanding Your Leadership Style project in the Dynamic Leadership Path. Her speech is entitled, Everything Old is New Again. The purpose of this project is to discuss leadership styles in general. Lisa has chosen to share a leadership style that is 160 years old and is still relevant in 2020. Some things never change. Lisa?
Leadership is elusive. Many people, many authors have attempted to create an all-inclusive definition. Upon reviewing what we know now, different types of leadership styles, from transitional to assertive to situational, and then finally authoritative. You run the whole gamut. So what we're trying to do is find something that fits all. And it's not always possible. Donald T. Phillips believes that because we don't have any rules or fast rules, okay, that on leadership, that we need to go back in time and look at history and great leaders back then. So when he approaches Lincoln on leadership, executive strategies for tough times, he sees a plethora of situations and learning that we can absorb from the 1860s and actually apply to 2020. Now, as a backstory, you have to understand that when Lincoln took power, before he even took office, there were 7 states that had seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy. Also, the Congress had done nothing at the time to stop any of that. So Lincoln was coming on the footsteps of this terrible catastrophe from Buchanan, the President Buchanan, that just vacated office. Also, the Senate had decreased military spending. The southern states had taken the Mississippi River and basically put a stranglehold on it, which was the centerpiece for commerce and trade. What a mess. And Lincoln had to step in and handle all of that. And in hindsight, looking back, what he did with that was nothing short of a miracle. His style, Lincoln's style, the cornerstone of his style was the fact that he wanted to get out and talk with the people. He spent 75% of his time talking with people. He felt that when he talked with people, he could connect with people. He knew what was happening on the ground floor. So his style was actually a wandering style. And in fact, 100 years later, with Tom Peters and Peter Waterman, they came up with the management by wandering style, in their 1982 book, Search for Excellence. And they took that basically from Lincoln's method of trying to assimilate and gather all this information. He would wait at the ticker tape and the telephone, telegraph stations, waiting for feed. It wasn't, I'm looking at the internet or getting on the phone. He didn't have to do that. He couldn't do that, obviously. Another part of Lincoln's management style was the fact that he was very amiable. The press of the time said that he always had a pleasant disposition, that when people went to visit him and were in his audience, he always had a smile for them, a pleasant comment, a humorous joke, or a story. And they came out feeling good about themselves. Frederick Douglass even said, because he had an audience with Lincoln, that in his presence, he was not reminded of his humble origin or his color. Lincoln accepted everyone and viewed everyone as an asset. He felt that a pleasant disposition was going to reap rewards. In fact, he even said, everyone loves compliment. But with that being said, you have to be tough too, and Lincoln could be tough. So when his constituents got together and they were talking out a problem, he tried to let them talk and speak and persuade them or direct them into the path that was the best for the country. And he let them take credit for it. He wasn't going to grab all the power for him. But if there was a discussion, he didn't, and there was a dispute, he tried not to do that or to persuade them by coercion. It was more of trying to gently persuade them into his thought pattern. Excuse me. Now you might ask, what could possibly happen? Why would that be applicable to us today? Especially when you have globalization, technology, and all of these other facets that are now in our current world. Lincoln understood humans. He understood human nature. He valued human nature. And human nature never changes. Never. Social norms might change, technology, but not human nature. So you can take this. You can take the treating everyone as equals, gentle persuasion, a kind story, a kind word for everyone, and that is what's still relevant today. So I believe that what we learned from studying Lincoln and his leadership styles, we can and should implement today. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Erin. Erin will be working on her Understanding Your Communication Style project in the Dynamic Leadership Path. Her speech is entitled, Be More Intentional. While it's comfortable or even admirable to be yourself, it can also limit you. Erin.
Not trying to wow you and not to be exaggerating. But I truly feel that I have grown professionally a year in the last 24 hours. And I hope my speech today will actually help you to grow somewhat as well from my own lesson. How did that happen? In 24 hours, I changed because of 2 phone interviews that I had yesterday. And I felt great about the first phone interview. The second one, not so much. I was being me, I put my best foot forward. I was friendly. I was prepared. I had all the information they wanted to know about me. I was researching the company. I asked all the great questions. But how come the second interview, I felt a little bit off? Well, answer came in 24 hours. Today, I was preparing for this speech. And this speech topic is communication styles. I wish I learned this earlier. But I'm glad I still got to do it and learn something big. What happened was, as I was researching this project, main thing is there seems to have 4 major communication styles. And it's very important that you know what your style is, what other people's style is, and also what the situation is, if you want to be an effective communicator. And none of these styles is better than the other. They all have their pros and cons. And I want to share with you what these 4 styles are. And I want to read them because I want to make sure I don't miss any of these particulars. And I want you to pay attention because there's only 4. So as I'm reading them, I hope you can figure out which style is yours. The first one is an analytical communicator. An analytical communicator is cautious, precise, and disciplined. You are a deliberate and methodical problem solver, conscientious and careful. You're often diplomatic in your interactions. You may be perceived as a perfectionist. Socializing with others will allow them to realize you're also diplomatic. The second style is a supportive communicator. You are seen as patient, cooperative, and sympathetic. You're an active listener and anticipate the needs of others. Calm and steady, you desire a personal and relaxed environment. Because you dislike change, you may appear indecisive at times, so do not hesitate to ask for more detail or information if needed. The third style is a direct communicator style. This style, they are result-oriented, focused, and competitive. Motivated to get things accomplished, you are quick and decisive. Because you are independent and confident, you prefer a busy, efficient, and structured environment. Others may sometimes perceive you as impatient and demanding. Allowing others to share feelings and explain details can encourage dialogue. And the last style is the initiating communicator style. This type is sociable, enthusiastic, and persuasive. You communicate easily and fluently with others and have a spontaneous and fun-loving nature. Relationships are important and you respond strongly to praise and approval. Due to your energetic and expressive nature, listen. So remember to allow others to share their opinions and thoughts. So I hope you found out what your communication style is. Or for me, my style was analytical. Dealing with a lot of numbers and data, which is good. I like details, information. So I was able to share a lot of those things with my first interviewer, who, now that I understand the definition, I could tell she was the supportive type. So we had great conversation, interacting with each other. It was like, no, I wouldn't say friend. It was still very professional, but it was very supportive. We went back and forth. And I felt good, literally felt like I got the job after I got off that phone. Well, second interview. By the way, this is with the same company. Second interview, who is the manager of that department. And I still put my best foot forward. I felt good because my first interview went so well. I was prepared even more because I just had it yesterday morning. And I did the same thing, but I felt like I was pulling teeth. There was a lot of silence. There was just a lot of just kind of get to the point, and I was trying to be friendly, trying to draw her out. But now knowing this information, I realized she has a direct communication style. This style, they want, well, they're busy. They don't want to have to mess with small talks, and they just want to get to the point so they can get to know what's going on. They want no fluffs. Not that I was giving any fluffs, but I was trying to be sociable. So, with this in mind, if I had learned this information the day prior, I think I would have really nailed it really well, because I would know to be more precise, to deliver it in a way that is more receptive by the manager. I think it still went well. However, it was not as effective. So with this information, I really hope that everyone can take away with this, because as much as I like to be myself, but sometimes if your communication style is not effective with a certain person or a situation, it's worth to adjust yourself accordingly. And you know what? This could have cost me a great job opportunity. However, I surely learned a great lesson, and I hope you guys also learn from what I learned. Thank you.
Topics, like Jerry said, is our impromptu speaking. There's no planning. That's why you only get 1 to 2 minutes. You don't have to take up the whole 2 minutes. You don't even have to be up here, until the light turns green. And this is one of the areas that our guests are totally welcome to participate. Now, I had a great game that I was going to bring up and do with you guys all tonight. But I had some news this morning that changed my mind. I have a job interview on Tuesday. This is my first real important interview in 20 years. The job really is, I'm all nervous about. And I really want it's a career job. Anyway, so I'm going to use this time completely to my advantage and be totally selfish. And I have one question I'm going to ask, and then a piece of advice. So for anybody that wants to come up, I need help with the dreaded question. So tell me about yourself. So I would like to know what people would say to tell an interview about yourself, and then what other advice you would like to give me for Tuesdays. I need all the help I can get. Oh, Louise back there.
Toastmasters, I think the first thing I should do is give you advice to you. Don't tell them everything.
I know. What do you say?
I would be careful what you told them, because you want to let them know you're enthusiastic about the job, that you didn't hate the job you're currently in. You want to be careful not to talk about your kids, because we all love our kids, and we really do, or grandkids, like mine. So you don't want to spend your time doing that. You want to get, you've done the research, and when they say, tell me about yourself, you want to say, well, I investigated your company, and it really looks, the website is really great, and I'm enthusiastic about this type of work I want to do, and here's what I've done in the past that's made me a really good employee, and I think that's what I want to tell you, that's the kind of thing I think you should tell them. What makes you good at what you've been doing? I mean, you told me a little bit about your work, so I know you're really excited about trying something different, and you can talk about that, where Leanne spent the last year with no job. She had to wander around her job looking for work to do and ways to be important and feel involved as a team. So that's why she's looking for a job. And now she has an opportunity to take that whole process of, I created my own job this past year. That's what I want you to know about me. How I take the initiative, go out and make sure I'm helping people get their job done. That's my advice to you, Leanne.
So I actually, I myself, I actually have had a job interview before, so I can actually speak from experience. It was actually at the same place, and one day I came in, I won a job, so I walked to him, and he's like, all right, give me like a sort of interview. He's like, all right, the manager's not here, so I'm gonna send you back, come back tomorrow, so that was kind of inconvenient, but they asked me questions, and basically, the advice I would give you is like, that's your free chance to brag about yourself and all you've done. And exaggerating is not lying, so. And done your research of the company, and that's your chance to just brag and just, well, I guess, I don't know, pay lip service to them, I guess, and just say how great this company is, and just tell them how great they are, because they love to hear that. We'll make sure it's like sincere, don't like, oversell it, 'cause, that's not going to work. So yeah, that's my advice.
So Joe, you guys have to tell me what it's about.
First of all, I wish you all the best. I'm sure everything will be fine. Recently, I've been reading a book, and one of the things that was really interesting for me about the book was that it helped me realize that we are mostly interested in ourselves. When we talk to different people, when we do things, the most important thing for us is ourselves. I want to use this and let you know that that company, more than anything, they are interested in themselves and how you can help them achieve their own goals. So if you want to emphasize on your own abilities, first go and figure out what they want and how you can fill that role, because that is what they are interested in. And that's how you can get an advantage point over other people, because they are interested in themselves. That's it.
I think today we got the gist of the question in all our speeches. Everybody gave us a great speech about communication, leadership, and how to be beyond your comfort zone and then get out there and then do your best. So, but any interviewer is looking for three things. Do you know the job? Can you do the job? And can you fit the environment? Culture. So culture is one thing that's creeping up a lot these days in big companies. So if you want to ace the interview, just go and research what their culture is basically, because they might want to hire somebody who closely fits their culture 50% of it rather than just know the stuff. So in that sense, go and research, and like Parsa said, apply your helping nature. Like, I'm going to be helping, I'm going to enable the, depending on the nature of the job, if it's a remote job just for yourself, and if you're going to deliver as a consultant, that's different than it's also nature of the job. So just search for that and then try to come with be yourself, and I think that I like the communication speech. That helps a lot.
I can't see your name. I don't have the glasses on.
Chris.
Chris,
Yes.
come on up. Thank you.
So, as somebody who has gone on multiple interviews, including 10 since November, I got some advice. first thing you should do, in fact, I have an interview on Tuesday as well, which kind of makes me worried that we might be getting the same job. But, so my first advice is that when they say tell me about yourself, I know they're trying to go for things like, why do you apply here? Like, how do you fit the company culture and all that? So I usually tell them things like, well, I am a great person, and I feel like I'd be a good fit for this, and all that, and then I sometimes get my words mixed up, or words caught in my throat. And, but, yeah, and I should stress at this point that even though I've had multiple interviews, I've had no offers yet. So, maybe it's just a numbers game, but, yep.